Solving multi-step equations with variables on both sides. Alright, so in this first example, we have 3n plus 13 equals 4 minus 6n. So the first thing I'd like to do when I'm going to solve for this is I want to split my equation up into two sides. I have a left side of the equation and a right side of an equation. I will look on the left side first and see if there's anything I can simplify. And there isn't, right? The term 3n will not combine with the 13. So I look at the right side now. Is there anything I can combine or distribute there? And the answer is no as well. So after I look to see if there's anything to simplify on either side of the equation, I then start moving the terms that have the variables with them. I want them all to be on the same side. So I want to take this negative 6n and I want to move it to the other side by doing the opposite operation. So it was negative 6n or minus 6n, so I'm going to add 6n to both sides. I get 9n plus 13 equals, bring down the 4, and those cancel, they become 0. I then solve it like I did in the previous lesson. So we're going to take the opposite of the 13, so instead of plus 13 it's minus 13, or adding a negative 13, and I'm left with 9n equals negative 9. Okay, and now I want to divide by the coefficient, which is 9, so it gives me 1n equals, and then negative 9 divided by 9 is negative 1. For example number 2, same thing, we're going to split our equation in half. We have a left side and a right side. So it's 3x equals x plus 21 minus 5x. I want to simplify anything that I can. So over here there's nothing to simplify, I just have the term 3x by itself. On this side I have the terms x and negative 5x. I can combine those. So we will combine those and then add the 21 to it. So we have x, negative 5x. When I combine those I get negative 4x. And I have the 21 by itself, so plus 21 equals 3x. Okay. Notice that I have a variable on both sides of the equations. So I just want one of them. So I'm going to take this 4x, negative 4x, and I'm going to move it over here by doing the opposite of what it is. So it says minus 4x, so we are going to add 4x to both sides. That gives me 7x equals 21. Then I need to get rid of the coefficient, or that number in front of the variable, so we divide by 7. I get x equals 3. Okay, in example number 3, we're going to start off by separating our sides. We have a left side and a right side. I look at the left side and see if there's anything that I can do to simplify that by either distributing or combining like terms, and since they are different and there's no distributing, I'm done there. So then I look at the right side and I see that I have negative 2k and negative 3k, so I will combine those two pieces. That gives me negative 5k plus the 10 equals negative 7k plus 4. Now I notice that I have a variable on the left side and the right side, so I want to move them all to one side. It doesn't matter which one we pick, so I'm just going to take the negative 5k and I'm going to move it to the left side. So that cancels there. I'm left with the 10, and I'm going to add 5k to this side. Leaves me with negative 2k plus 4. Then I'll solve it like I did before. We will do the opposite operation, so minus 4 on both sides. And divide by negative 2. I get k is equal to negative 3. Okay, example number 4. We're going to start by separating the left side and the right side of the equation. We will look at the left side of the equation first and simplify if possible. There is no distributing, so I will go straight to combining like terms. I will take the negative 3r and add 2r to it. That gives me negative r plus 6 equals, and then I'm going to look at the right side of my equation and I will simplify anything I can there. We'll start with the variables. So I have positive r plus 2 more r. It's going to give me 3r. And then I have negative 1 plus another negative 5 gives me negative 6. So once I've simplified both sides, I move the variables to one side of the equation. So I will take that 3r and move it to the other side. Cancels there. Over here I now have negative 4r's plus 6 that equals negative 6. I will then move the 6 to the other side by doing the opposite. Negative 4r equals negative 12. Okay, I will then divide both sides by the negative 4. I get r equals 3. Example 5, I'll start by separating the left side and the right side of the equation. I will look at the left side first and see if there's anything I can simplify. And I see distribution here, so I'm going to take the negative 3 times each of these. So negative 3 times that 4r gives me negative 12r. Negative 3 times negative 8 is positive 24. Equals. Now we look at the right side of the equation and I simplify if possible. There's no distribution, but I can combine the like terms, the 30 and the positive, or the negative 30 and the positive 9. So we will add those together. So I have 3r left from here, and then negative 30 plus 9 gives me negative 21. I then notice that I have variables on both sides of the equation, so I have to move them to one side or the other. It doesn't matter which way you pick. This time I'm going to do it the other way just to show you it doesn't matter. So I'm going to take the negative 12r and I'm going to move it to the other side. So I will add 12r's to both sides. It's eliminated here, so I'm left with 24 equals 15r minus 21. Okay. Then I will move the 21 to the other side. Okay. And divide by 15. So 3 equals r, or r equals 3. So I'm going to start by, this is the last example, so I'm going to start by separating the left side of the equation from the right side. I will look at the left side and see if there's anything to distribute or combine, and there is not. So I will write that as it is, 75 plus 10n equals. I look at the right side and I see distribution, so I will do that first. I take 5 times negative 3, and that gives me negative 15n, and then 5 times the negative 5 gives me negative 25. I then notice that I have a variable on both sides of the equation, so I take one of them and move it to the other side by doing the opposite of it. So this was minus 15n or negative 15n, so I added 15n to both sides. That cancels over there, so I have 75 plus 25n equals negative 25. Okay, I can then start moving the pieces away from the end, write the numbers away, so the constant term here and the coefficient there. So we will start with the constant, so I'll subtract 75 from both sides. Get 25n equals negative 100. Divide by 25, and I get n equals negative 4.